we're still in Churchill, Virginia, and I want to show you a couple of things. First, you can kind of see the panoramic behind me of the type of homes. This area has gone through many iterations of life. Literally, it was settled sometime in the mid to early 1800s, and there have been a multitude of people and families and generations that have lived here. Because of that, it's had many different personalities. In the last 20 years, what's happened is it was the place you didn't want to go after dark, and you certainly didn't want your mom to ever be, to a place where it's actually very desirable. These types of shifts can happen fast. This particular area that we're in was actually written up in the New York Times, and they did something in like the weekend section, and it talked about the restaurants and how things in sophistication are moving here. As a real estate investor, this is a cool place and a cool thing to think about in your local market, because it means that properties are on the rise, and it is way easier to make money when properties are on the rise. The cool thing about it is it can forgive some sins, and at the same time you may make a little bit more in the back end than you thought you might have, because of the fact that the community is very desirable. On this particular house, one of the things that we did is we put our little crappy sign in front of it. This sign has probably been in front of 15 houses, and it probably cost me a whopping 45 bucks. But the reason that we do this is we have a call to action of what we do. We have a phone number on it which goes right to our call center, and then we have our name as an identifier. We have 11 houses either under contract or we own right around here. So we have upwards of 11 of these signs in the marketplace. What that does for you is it gives you appeal and cachet, and people are like, man, I see your signs everywhere. The cool thing about that is when you start doing that and you start branding yourself, deals start falling out of the sky. People will say, well, you're the one who owns all these houses, I want to come directly to you. So don't be afraid of investing a whopping 9 cups of coffee in one of these signs, because it will have remarkable returns. The most important thing about business is having a multitude of streams of incoming leads. This house came from a referral, as did this one. This was someone that inherited it. This was a home owned by a bank because someone had fallen into foreclosure. The one that's a couple blocks up that we own that I can show you is a mail piece that we got. Now, one of the things you're going to notice as we walk down to there, you have the 2 homes that we own. This one here, which we made an offer on, we didn't win. The people that owned it wanted to sell it for like way over 200 grand, and I'm happy they got it. We didn't. We offered like in the 130 range. But they also are building this home next to it, and the cool thing about that house is it was a home with a vacant lot. Now, I would have been much happier if we had done this deal, but because they're helping with the comps and driving up the price, I'm still happy. But what they did is they bought a house and a lot. They sold the house for less than they bought both parcels for, so they basically built another home on a free lot. They're gonna make way over 100 grand on that combination deal, and those are the things that you can target as well, especially in infill areas like this, where there's old homes with some vacant parcels next to it. One other thing that's really cool is, well, I think it is anyways, is this. I used to live about an hour from here, and I actually flipped a house a block over this way while I still lived in a town an hour from here. I didn't really understand what I had stumbled into then, but when you understand a real estate market, it's not just understanding the market, it's understanding the little pockets. And those little pockets can mean a big, big difference. Not only on the sales side, but you have to really understand the customer base, and in the middle you have to really understand what the finishes are. This is an area that really strives for, it's a blend of like modern, nice, high-end, but at the same time somewhat rustic, and they kind of go on top of each other. I always use the reference of like, you know, the place where they charge you 25 bucks for a burger. It's that kind of a feel. That's this area, right? There's like craft brews, cool coffee shops. That's the people who want to like stumble out on a Saturday morning, get a cup of coffee around the corner versus sitting at their island. And what you want to do is you want to appeal to them with the finishes, the exterior, the entire part. Something as silly and simple as like cobblestone and brick streets add to that appeal. If you've ever been to San Diego, for example, where Corey and I go twice a year for meetings, they have the gas lamp district. Well, this is one of the cool and appealing areas of Richmond. And because of that, we like properties here, and we really make sure they're finished out a very certain way. So one of the things I was mentioning earlier was an appreciating marketplace. I bought this house in the end of 2012 for 75 grand, and it was a mess when we bought it. But we sold it in 2013 for 227,500 bucks. This house today is easily worth over 300 grand. Sometimes you want to be strategic. Like at the time I wanted to make the money and I wanted to move. What I've started to do is, because I realize inventory is hard to find, we actually own 4 hold properties in this same community. And the reason for that is they're rentals today, but if this market continues to appreciate, they're basically opportunities for flip. And the cool thing is we're holding the inventory and we can control it. A couple of years from now, if we want to make some money, we just take it, turn it from a rental into a flip, and it gives you an opportunity. So what's really important if you get into this business is have a long-term trajectory in view. If you have that, it gives you options. You buy it thinking, okay, if I can sell it for this, great. If I can't sell it, I can rent it. If I can't rent it, I can do it subject to or send it to someone on owner financing. On the other end, what you can do is buy it as a rental, and then you can say I can hold it as a rental, but if the market appreciates and I want to sell it, you can do that as well. So it just gives you a lot of options.